Good evening, and welcome to Revolution Evolution with your host, Gregory. I'm also joined tonight by Dee of Around the World with Brandy and Dee. I will be
Thank you for
joined,
having me.
and you're welcome for coming on. And I'll be joined here shortly by Joe Firestone of Joe Firestone Empowering Democracy. To kick off tonight's show, I have a little bit of sad news, and this is coming out of Seattle, Washington. And this news that I have to share is from Kshama Sawant. This right here is from Kshama Sawant. This is from The Stranger. And she goes on about why I'm not running again for city council. She goes on to state, I'm launching a national movement called Workers Strike Back. And in this article, she states, this is now the 10th year I've had the honor to serve as an elected representative of Seattle's working people. Workers in Seattle, through getting organized alongside my Socialist City Council office and my organization, Socialist Alternative, have won historic victories from the $15 an hour minimum wage to the Amazon tax to landmark renters' rights. These victories have set a powerful example that has had a national and even international impact. In our 4 election victories in every single struggle, we've had to overcome the combined might of big business, the corporate media, and the political establishment. Each time people have refused to back down, and we have prevailed again and again. This is the most important lesson from our example of socialist politics in Seattle, that when workers and young people get organized and fight, we can win. That no meaningless progressive can change, that no meaningful progressive change can be won under capitalism without the vicious opposition of the rich and their political servants. And that instead of backing down, we need to build the unity of working class people and fight back fiercely and proudly. A rapacious and parasitic capitalist class has amassed untold fortunes off the labor of billions of workers, but their system is in deep crisis and it cannot sustain itself. Meanwhile, it eviscerates ordinary people's living standards with historic levels of inflation, and over 800 million go to bed hungry each night. The right wing is on the attack against abortion rights and LGBTQ plus people. The future of human civilization rests on a knife's edge with the existential threat of a climate catastrophe. Working and young people cannot afford status quo corporate politics. At my inauguration in 2014, I said, let me make one thing absolutely clear. There will be no backroom deals with corporations or their public political servants. There will be no rotten sellout of the people I represent. Our Socialist Council office has held true to that. It is extremely regrettable that exceedingly few other elected officials in this country can say the same. Since I was elected in 2013, more than 200 self-identified Democratic Socialists have been elected nationally. But unfortunately, with rare exceptions, the overwhelming majority of them have abandoned their campaign promises and have failed to stand up to the political establishment. Just the last month, we saw the historic, shameful betrayal of railroad workers by members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, including caucus chair Pramila Jayapal and self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist squad members such as AOC. The breaking of the railroad workers' strike by progressives in Congress does not just hurt railroad workers. It is a betrayal of the entire working class. Such sellouts have even more sinister consequences. It gives us an opening to the right wing, as we saw with the 5 Republican senators disingenuously voting against the strike-breaking deal or pretend to be on the side of railroad workers. These Republicans, who in reality nakedly serve the interests of the wealthy, are being allowed to pretend their party is the party of the worker. How is this possible? Only because the Democratic Party is moving farther and farther into their loyal support of the corporate elite. It is deeply unfortunate that it was the right-wing Freedom Caucus who demonstrated how to use leverage or to force establishment concessions rather than the squad. With a continued failure of any real leadership on the left, the House speakership fight revealed just how quickly and dangerously the right wing can fill the void. It is a frightening flashback to how Trump won this election in the first place. Working people and the left cannot stand and wait on so-called progressive elected officials. We cannot put our faith in the AOCs or the Pramila Jayapals, even though I understand there were many who had high expectations for them. AOC recently claimed that she could not fight against Democratic leaders on behalf of workers because it would have relational harm with those party leaders. What about the vast and real harm taking place in the absence of such fight for our needs? Meanwhile, the organization that should be holding AOC and the squad accountable, the DSA, appears to be unwilling to do so. It gives me no pleasure to say this because I am currently a member of DSA, but the DSA leadership has for the most part provided cover for the misleadership of the squad. There is a vacuum of real left leadership locally and nationally. We need a new party for the working class, one that holds elected officials accountable, that bases itself on social movements, that organizes alongside workers on the streets and in workplaces. Elections are not only, much less the primary path to political change, because the political system is rotten from top to bottom under capitalism. Now, as the global crisis worsens, the rot spreads deeper and deeper, and the threat of further corruption by the far right hangs all over us. In India, the country I was born in, the far right is in power and is rapidly consolidating it. In the U.S., the midterms were but a temporary reprieve unless we get organized. Capitalism needs to be overthrown. We need a socialist world, and that is only possible by mobilizing many millions of working people around genuine socialist ideas and fighting relentlessly for our interests as a class. But the task of rebuilding the class struggle in America will go nowhere if young people and the rank and file of the labor movement are not clear about the role of the Democratic Party and the need for a new party that serves us, not the rich. Working people need to recognize that we have to fight independently of the two big business parties and of the leaders who make excuses for them. And she goes on and on to discuss all of this in this article, which I won't read much more of. But this tweet right here is from the Red Berets, M for All page over on Twitter, which I will copy and paste this and put this in the chat for y'all to go over, that they have received an email from Kshama Sawant's office letting them know about this organizing effort. This is essential for work and holding the power accountable. We need a mass movement, mass worker solidarity movement, which I do agree with right there. We do need a mass movement of people right there.
Yes, we do.
And I'm going to put this Twitter link with the information, which is shown right here from the Red Berets themselves on this new movement, which is being started by Kshama Sawant. And I think this is a very good opportunity to make some action. And this is where we, as the ones with the Dump the Corruption campaign, can formulate a very strong presence with this movement. We need everybody who is for dumping the corruption on board with what Kshama Sawant has called for. She is a true proven leader. She has passed our litmus test over and over and over again, and she has not bowed to the PAC money. She is not a PAC man by any means. She is one of us.
Right, and she's rare. It's rare to find somebody that's not taking the corrupt money and is not bought.
Yes, it is rare. And by the way, she's not a PAC woman either.
Far from it.
Exactly.
And now, from what I can gather of the 3 CPC members in their campaign financing, I've got some really good, some good stuff right here. And this is from transparencyusa.org. And this is what the only thing I could find on Summer Lee, which is the first of the CPC members I'm covering tonight. And it shows that her total contributions were $22,207 with total expenditures of $43,547. And as we go over from what I can gather from all of this, and we're going to view her first, and this is the only thing I could find on her. And this here is for Summer Lee on her top contributors. And as follows, she took a total of and this is from an entity, $5,245.74 from Berlin Rosin Limited, $2,900 from Mike Hansen. She took from the Allegheny County Democrat delegation, $2,500. Abolished the Electoral College Federal, $2,000 from Patricia Miller, $2,000. Aggregated utilized contributions, $1,826.75. And going on down from Dominique Rocca all the way, Evan Husted, Joanna McClinton, and Robert McKenzie. She took $1,000 a pop from all of those. From Durga Erpeti all the way down, and Janet Corpus, she took $250 a piece from. And from Richard Melroy and Tony Buddha, $125. From Jeremiah McAuliffe, Lavoy Joensen, Mark Stiller, Martina Jacobs, Stuart Hastings, Susan Bachman, Susan Cohen, and Trevor Sutherland. She took $100 a piece from them. $62.50 from Liz Herenda, $62.50 from William Ewing, and $60 from Suzanne Cause. And and this shows all the same thing right here, and that's all I could find on Summer Lee's deal there. But I found another one right here from votesmart.org, which showed all of the same thing. And it showed even some of the groups, the top industries, her top sectors. The uncoded was $6,541.49. Liberal Policy Organization, $2,500. Unitemized contributions was $1,874. Education and candidate committees, $1,000. Lawyers and lobbyists, $62.50. Insurance, $60. Now let's go over to the top sectors that I could find on them as well. And the uncoded was the same thing. Ideology and single issue was $2,500. Unitemized was the same thing as top industries. And all of that except for the finance, insurance, and real estate, which was $60, and health was $0. So that's all I could really find on Summer Lee. Like, there isn't much on her. Like, in regards to PAC money, I don't see anything there. In regards to Summer Lee, and this is the only thing I could really find on her.
Okay. Did you see? There's a page for the Pennsylvania District 12 2022 race on Open Secrets. The summary data. It gives her total raised and spent $1,814,258.
Pennsylvania what?
The Pennsylvania 12th Congressional District. Here, I'll get the link and I'll put it in the chat for you so you can see the page.
Okay, I just got it pulled up.
So her total raised and spent was $1,814,258. She spent $1,760,845. She had $53,412 cash on hand at the end of the campaign. But
this here's that page you were talking about right here.
Right. As you go down, though, it has something on outside spending by candidate. It lists outside spending supporting Summer Lee of $2,889,912. These are independent campaign expenditures. So what supported her was $2,889,912. This must be from super PACs.
Yeah. So
okay, in opposition to her, there was $3,273,595.
Send that to me real quick. You can put it in the private chat over here. But yeah, and I've got that pulled up, that page that you were just talking about.
Okay.
On Summer Lee, which I have noticed that even right, you see that there?
Hang on a second. Let me click on the. Yeah, I'm seeing that page. I don't know if it's the same one I've got, but
this here is what I found on her. The raised was in, like, it don't show like a summary there. Oh, I found this right here on her. Is see more on outside spending. Now, there for her, it has 2,889,912 and
Yeah, that's
opposed.
the page I'm looking at.
And there's the opposed was $3,273,595, and the total right there in that race was roughly $6.16 million, give or take a few thousand there. But
right. And that statistic is the statistic of the super PACs on both sides, the supported and the opposed. Okay, so it tells you how big the money was in that race.
Yeah. Like, there really isn't a lot on her at all.
Well, there's probably her campaign page, Some Relief for Congress, isn't there?
There is, but it don't share any information on that.
Oh, I know it doesn't. It never does. But okay, it tells you about her positions and things like that.
Ooh, I just found some stuff on her. Ooh, let's go with this. And this is on Summer Lee. This is something from Open Secrets. And this is on Summer Lee. And this is just has all the totals there. She took $19,770 from the University of Pittsburgh. Service Employees International Union, $1,700,325. J Street, $15,230. Inspiring Leadership has a name pack, $10,000, along with $10,000 from Medicare for All PAC and Justice Democrats, along with the same $10,000 from the American Federation of Teachers, CPAC, Courage to Change, End Citizens United, and Let America Vote.
She got, as you say, 10,000 from J Street.
Yeah.
Okay, but J Street is the PAC in favor of Israel that recognizes Palestinian rights.
So that's a good thing there.
The person who ran against her, this guy, Steve Irwin, let me see if I can find that. It was in the last page I looked at that you were also looking at. He had a good amount of money spent in support of his own campaign.
And this is somebody the DMFI, like even the Democrat, like wealthy Democrat donors was donating to her GOP rival.
To her Democratic rival, to Steve Irwin.
And she also took $84.50 from Emily's list. Why, like University of California, $82.35. Jane Fonda Climate PAC, $7,900. Working Families Party, $77.50. Rooted in Community Leadership PAC, $7,500. Progressive PAC, $7,500. Apple Incorporated, $74.49. Higher Heights for America, $7,000. Way to Win, $6,800. And Carnegie Mellon for $5,900.
Yeah, she had a lot of diverse support from all kinds of quarters.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had the DMFI people and APAC trying to beat her towards the end of the campaign. And they had a big influx of money in support of Steve Irwin to try to get him elected.
According to what she has raised was right there when she was the winner of that election. And she did take PAC contributions, which was $348,000, like almost $350,000 from PACs there. And she took large individual contributions, which was almost 860,000, almost 580,000 from small contributions. No self-financing, and other was almost 26,000.
Yep.
In full disclosure, was almost 380,000 there. Incomplete, almost 16, and no disclosure, a little over 24,500 in that race alone.
Yeah, I don't think she's completed all her disclosure yet.
No, I don't think so either. And I will be doing I will be monitoring this closely. This is going to be one instance where we're going to have to monitor this one closely as well.
Yeah, she's the new AOC.
Yep, she is.
And that's the way they're looking at her.
They're looking at her as the new AOC type. I think they're trying to push AOC to the side to move on to Summer Lee. And I've also got, who's that other one? Delia.
Delia Ramirez is from Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And she's supposed to be very promising too.
But what I have found on her was from Vote Smart.
You didn't find anything from Open Secrets on Delia?
No, I didn't. But this is going to have to require, there's going to be a few of these instances that I'm noticing with these newly elected candidates.
Well, they haven't completed their disclosures yet.
No. I'm going to have to do, we're going to have to do like a part 2 on them as well. And all of that. And it's going to take some time to look. Ooh, I found something on her right here. And according to Open Secrets, there is no data on Delia Ramirez, but on Vote Smart, which I will share, which is the only thing I could find, there's going to be these instances of these newly electeds that we are going to have to follow up. And this here is from Vote Smart right here, another source that I have used before. And the summary right here, the total raised in that race was $9,721,081. And she spent a total of $825,941.27. Her current cash on hand is $153,786.51. Now, the top contributors right here was the state of Illinois, was $28,594. American Federation of Teachers, $13,790. The city of Chicago, $13,567. AmeriPAC, the Fund for a Greater America, $10,000, along with another $10,000 from Credit Union National Elect Democratic Women, Machinist Aerospace Workers Union, Prairie PAC, and the United Food and Commercial Workers Union. All $10,000. And she also got money from J Street, which was $93.75. So, in a way, she did take some PAC money. But this here will have to require, this is going to have to be one of these Dump the Corruption episodes that we'll have to tackle at another time when their open secrets data is disclosed.
Okay, there is some open secrets data from them concerning her. Okay,
Yeah.
I left the link in the private chat for you.
Thank you. And according to VoteSmart, her leadership packs for Delia was 44,900. Civil servants and public officials 39,875. From retired 38,146. Nonprofit institutions 29,503. Lawyers and law firms 28,460. Education 24,675. Democratic and liberal groups 21,900. Human rights 17,605. Business service 15,789. Real estate 14,800. So yeah, she did take some PAC money. So I don't think she makes the litmus test.
She raised less than other people did.
Yeah, that's small potatoes in comparison to what others have raised from PACs.
But in the super PAC category, outside spending by candidate, there was 1,099,201 that she evidently got from super PACs. And super PACs that opposed her
I'll go over what I see right here.
348,061. And her opposition from another Democrat who was running, he got 741,000 roughly from super PACs that supported him. But
from what I see right here on from what Open Secrets does have on her, she raised what I said before and all that, but small individual contributions were 145,583. Large individuals almost 490, almost 340 in PAC contributions. So I don't think she makes the litmus test either.
Yeah, I don't think she makes a litmus test either, because it's clear she took some PAC money.
And she put $15 of her own personal money. So she did get $15 in self-financing, and the other was $71.39. So, Delia, you do not make the litmus test, my friend. You do not make the litmus test. And I don't think Summer Lee does either, because she did take some PAC money as well.
I think she took considerable PAC money.
Yeah.
So she had a huge amount of super PAC money in her favor.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
also a huge amount against her.
And I've also got in this right here, we're going to go on to Morgan McGarvey, who was also a CPC member, who raised $3,063,645, where he spent just $2,774,234, and he has almost 290 in his cash on hand coffers. Like at a later date, I would like to do a refresher on these three in particular.
Yeah, we can do that.
Like I'm going to do a refresher on these three at a later date. but the PAC contributions there were $572,496.
He did really well.
Large individuals was almost 2,285,115, and small was in 173.66 there. So these three automatically do not meet these criteria for passing the litmus test at all.
Yes.
I do not think either one of them passed the litmus test at all, because they did take PAC money, but I would like to, with them just being elected. And McGarvey was the one who is John Yarmouth's successor.
Oh, I see. So that's a fairly lefty district then.
If I had to say, yes, and that is in Kentucky.
Thank you.
And I do know some leftists from Kentucky. But that's all I could find on them. And I think in a couple of months, I would like to do a refresher on these freshman member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, the newly elected ones. So that way we can have a more accurate breakdown on them as well. Like all of the newly elected members of the CPC, I think will require maybe in about 2 or 3 months another round refresher.
That's what I think too.
Like,
and also outside spending by candidate, there was $1,023,959 for Morgan McGarvey. Okay, and that was interesting because they also had a candidate in that race on the Democratic side who was running for that seat. Okay, and her name was Attica Scott. And the independent expenditures for her were $2,584. Okay, whereas McGarvey got over $1 million. $1,022,959. So,
in my opinion, I don't think those three made the litmus test, since they all three took the corporate PAC money.
That's what I think too.
But yeah, since they took the corporate PAC money, they did not meet the litmus test, and I would like to see here maybe in the next 2 or 3 months a breakdown from the two there.
Yep, they're bored. That's the problem. We don't want people in there that are bored.
No, we do not.
See the world problems, not just here in the USA, but we see it overseas. The problems when people are bored.
But we do need to do a refresher on these three in particular. I'm going to be putting them on a refresher list tonight in my Google Docs. I'm going to be putting these three candidates in particular on a Google Doc.
Yeah, and we want to see too, follow them.
Yeah, I'm going to be following all of this and do a refresher on this at another time, because I honestly think we do need to do a refresher in the future on these candidates of our litmus test in the future.
Yeah, I think so too, because we have to monitor the candidates, not just these three candidates.
All of them we have to monitor.
Yeah, we have to monitor because they're constantly making claims about certain things. Like Katie Porter this week said in a letter she sent out across the nation. Okay, I got that. She said she's not taking any PAC money. But our analysis, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I covered Katie Porter. Our analysis showed that she was taking a good bit of PAC money. I mean, she tried to make it as small as possible, but as I recall, she was taking some. So that might be something we want to refresh also.
Yes, we want to monitor this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to see if they stay solid, if they're claiming they're not taking it.
Right, and just see people how they change once they're in Congress.
Yes, to see that, but also how they behave under the pressure of campaigns.
Right.
Yes, we do. We need to hold them to accountable. We need to hold them to a higher account.
Yeah, right. I think Katie Porter raised something like, I don't know if she raised this in the last campaign, but she had something like 17 million cash on hand at the end of the campaign. I seem to remember that number. So let me see. I'll search on her and see. But of course, that makes sense since now she's announced a run for the Senate.
But yeah, I just created a Google Doc. But yeah, we do need to be following these incumbents in the CPC and a follow up. And that's why I say we do need to follow these CPC members up in a future episodes so that way we can have a list of them who haven't disclosed their campaign contributions.
Yes, haven't fully disclosed. That's important. Yeah, she collected 3,504,591 from the retired sector. That was her top industry in 2021 and 2022. And her top contributor was $148,349 from the University of California. She raised in the last campaign $26,433,275, and she spent $28,871.14. So, I mean, she spent a good deal more than she raised, and she raised a fantastic amount. She ended up with $7,830,013 in her war chest. That's what's starting her off for the Senate campaign. But I remember remarking at the time what a fundraising machine she is. I already found some PAC money from Emily's list, 10,000, and the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, 5,800.
And who was that on?
Katie Porter. So she says she's not taking PAC money, but I immediately see here two contributions from PACs. And I see from Democratic liberal PACs, she took $66,708.
When you get a chance, Joe, check your email, because I emailed you that list. These three tonight, Summer Lee, McGarvey, and Delia Ramirez, folks, will require a refresher in the future, and we will do part 2 episodes. Joe and I will be doing that. He would be doing that on his channel, and I could be doing it on mine. So that way we can be sure that they are open and transparent.
Yes.
We want full transparency, and we're not. And we're now, and you're going to see this, folks, that there's not always going to be full transparency until a later date.
Yeah, that's going to be common. And you'll also see that they appear to be lying about the PACs. Okay, once again, Katie Porter, from Democratic Liberal PAC, she got 66,708. From lawyers and law firm, 9,500 in PACs. From women's issues PACs, she got 45,779. Now, these were small potatoes compared to the total that she raised. But when she makes a flat-out claim that she's not taking any PAC money, that is not true. It's flat, not true. Now, I suppose she would have some rationales for this, to say, well, I was talking corporate PACs. These aren't really corporate PACs because, they're Democratic liberal groups and women's groups. So technically they may be corporate PACs, but they're not really corporate PACs, So you got 10,000 from Emily's List. I suppose she's trying to claim that Emily's List isn't a corporation, but I'll bet it is. Anyway, we seem to see that kind of stuff going on.
Emily's List, they are an organization which is aimed at defending women's reproductive health issues and women's reproductive freedom.
That is what they do in theory. Okay, but in practice, I think they often support people who are weaker when it comes to supporting women's rights than certain other people.
Yeah.
Certainly, they stay away from the lefty progressives in terms of supporting them, whether they're women, or not. And often they end up supporting people for no other reason that but they're women. I know I can find examples if I look where Emily's List has supported a woman whose support for women's rights is, to say the least, very, very shaky, and supported, that woman against a man who has been a strong advocate for women's rights.
Okay. I found something here on Emily's List while we're on the topic of them. And this is from Open Secrets as well. Women vote. They get, and this is like their top recipients where they donated money to. And these are the candidates that they have donated to in the past election cycles. And they had Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, Sherry Beasley of North Carolina, Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, Val Demings from Florida who got her ass kicked by Marco Rubio. Tammy Duckworth of, I think she's Minnesota or Wisconsin, one of the two states.
No, Tammy Duckworth is Illinois.
Oh, yeah. Sharice Davids, Abigail Spanberger.
Sharice Davids is from Kansas.
And there's also your favorite, Abigail Spanberger.
Yeah, I can't stand that woman.
and Elaine Luria of she's also from Virginia's second.
And what's her name?
Elaine Luria.
Yes, Elaine Luria. She lost her race. Okay, she was defeated by a more Republican woman than she was. In other words, Elaine Luria, was really pretty right wing for the Democratic Party.
And had they elected like a Jessica Cisneros, and this is where dumping the corruption goes in the hand. Like, look at how Nancy Pelosi and Jim Clyburn went to Henry Cuellar's district against Jessica Cisneros.
Yeah, Cuellar. That got me furious when they did that.
And I was thinking, and this was right after Roe v. Wade got overturned. They went and campaigned on behalf of
Henry Cuellar, the only Democrat who voted against codifying Roe v. Wade.
That should have, and I was reminding all of these people who, like, after Nancy Pelosi stepped down and they were putting Nancy Pelosi photos all over their social media, I say, so you're still going to support the very woman who literally went and stomped for the only anti-abortion Democrat in the House of Representatives in his race? Seriously, you're going to support that bullshit? And I pissed a lot of people off by putting Nancy Pelosi down. And I said, and then at the end I said, P.S. Shahid Buttar should have won.
Yep. He certainly should have won.
And he took, and from what I've seen on Open Secrets, he didn't take any PAC money.
He's a lot more pro women's rights than Nancy Pelosi any day in the week.
He even organized a protest in San Francisco against her going there.
I know.
And that right there speaks volumes. I think if she were to run again, I don't think she's going to run again, but I think he needs to run again.
Oh, I think he needs to run again too. He'd be
as a Green.
He probably wouldn't want to run as a Green. But maybe if the Greens come over to dump the incumbents and have that as, dump the corruption and have that as their overall theme, then he might give it consideration. Of course, California is favorable to that because Greens have run in California and have come in second in primary races. But Kenneth Mejia did that, and Rodolfo Cortez did that. Hey, Greg, where'd you go?
I guess he has an emergency break. And if that's a comment.
Yep, that's where I went.
An emergency break.
Yep. But yeah, the most perfect candidate that I've
Greg didn't ask you a question.
But yeah, the best candidate that I have ever ran into in all my years of progressive activism, I would base the top three, the top five. Rodolfo Cortez, Tim Canova, Kenneth Mejia, of course. I liked him a lot.
I did too.
Diane Moxley of New Jersey and Madeline Hoffman were my favorite 5.
Well, we're pretty close to Madeline Hoffman.
She's one of our best friends.
Okay, I liked this guy Kenyella Eng, who ran in Hawaii. He was a representative at the state level, and he ran for Congress, and he got beat, because of the money. But he looked like he would have been a really strong congressman.
I think there was one guy that I would add as a number 6 to that was also Trent Neesmith, who I worked for his campaign in 2018 and become discouraged. I didn't even vote in that general election in the congressional race.
Okay, I thought they were extraordinary, and they still are. The 2 Washington congressional candidates,
Rebecca Parson
and Jason Call.
There was also this other one that ran in 2020. He was like a socialist truck driver. I don't recall his name, but I really liked him. I don't remember who he was, but he was an over-the-road truck driver that was running for Congress up there as well.
I don't think he ran in Washington. I think he ran somewhere around you in North Carolina or South Carolina. Okay, the reason why I say this is because I believe I interviewed him.
Who, what? What was his name?
I'm trying to think of what it was now. I wouldn't be able to recall it.
It wasn't Brian Rosser, was it?
No.
Brian Rosser, I'm going to try to get in touch with him about having a discussion on dumping the corruption in Georgia. And there's going to be a few others I'm going to talk to as well who are leftists from Georgia.
Okay, so we can have a good panel on that.
Yeah, like I would like to host a Zoom call and do the same thing that you did with the New Jersey Greens, but do it here in Georgia as well and get a coalition built for the. And I think Madeline Hoffman, she could be the first one in the nation to start a Dump the Corruption New Jersey chapter. I think she would be a fine candidate for dumping the corruption New Jersey.
Well, remember, she is shortly moving to Columbia for good.
Yeah, but we can get her Green Party on board, and then they can start it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. There are people there who would do an excellent job.
And I think if we got in touch with somebody like even Diane Moxley, who ran for Congress as a Green, I think we can get her on board as well. And she knew MMT as well. She was a staunch she knows MMT.
Oh, I know. I interviewed Diane in 2018 when she was running.
In this past election cycle, I really didn't have a favorite. We didn't have much to choose from.
Oh, you mean in Georgia?
Yeah, nobody in Georgia.
Yeah, I thought those 3 Washington candidates were good, especially the 2 we mentioned. I think are outstanding. I'd love to see them run again. The third one was Stephanie Gallardo. I don't have as clear an impression of her as I do the other 2. She seemed like she was pretty strong. Her platform was pretty strong, but I didn't get the impression. Jason Call has enormous commitment to becoming a congressperson. And he is very, very sharp on the issues, as is Rebecca Parson.
Who was that other progressive that ran in Oregon's 5th? There was like an Oregon's 5th that she was progressive, and Jamie McLeod Skinner.
Jamie McLeod. It's pronounced.
McLeod, yeah.
Skinner. Yeah, we covered her this year. We were not able to interview her, but Ezra Wilson and I covered her in some detail. We really liked her. She ran into a problem. She beat Kurt Schrader, who had been the congressman there for some time. And then she ran into a Republican who was well funded and outspent her. And that was
Lori Chavez de Ramirez.
Okay, and that was the case where if she'd gotten any kind of support from the Democratic Party in that race, she would have won. But the Democratic Party abandoned her because
Sean Patrick Mahoney, in his own words, said she was too progressive for the district.
Yeah.
And then he went on to lose his election to a Republican.
Yes, he did. And
Poetic justice.
He was responsible for the defeat of Mondaire Jones also because he moved from his district into Mondaire's district, okay, where Mondaire would have run as the incumbent. Okay, and Mondaire sort of got bumped and tried to run in a Manhattan district, which was too full of strong candidates. And so Mondaire Jones ended up losing his congressional seat because, and the Democratic Party ended up losing a congressional seat because Sean Patrick Maloney was defeated. So basically, he also cost them, but Sean Patrick Maloney did, 2 or 3 seats in upstate New York because he did a terrible job as the chairperson of the DCCC. He was the chairperson, okay, of the DCCC. He was responsible by himself, if I counted correctly,
I was told
for 4 House seats.
I was told by Cora Emanuel that he chose to, instead of campaign in his own district, he chose to fly to Europe and meet with donors.
Yes, he did. And then he also switched over to Mondaire Jones' district because he thought that district would be easier for him to win. And so Mondaire Jones didn't want to run against him because he was, the DCCC chair. And so Mondaire got bumped into Manhattan District. So that was all very unfortunate.
Yep. But I guess that's all I can say for tonight.
Yeah, I guess it's all I can say too. It's time to
call it a night.
Call it a night. Exactly. I've been going since 7:30. So,
but thank y'all. Thank you, Dee, for joining, and thank you, Joe, for joining. Don't forget to go and check out their channels. Dee is with Around the World with Brandy and Dee. Go and give them a subscribe, and also subscribe to Joe at Joe Firestone Empowering Democracy. And do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel and share this out there. And also hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future updates. And y'all have a great night, everybody.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
good
welcome.
night.